about to say something controversial. I think most Disney heroines are pretty boring. Meg from Hercules though, she is sarcastic, independent, emotionally complex, and a character that has flaws that make her relatable. As a party character owner, I spend the vast majority of my time making what sells, but today I am finally making a costume just for me for a character that is tragically underrated. My question to you is, who do you think is the most underrated Disney character? Put it in the comments below and I'm gonna be reading every comment and choosing one to inspire one of my builds in 2026. Plus, stick around until the end of the video because I'm doing my first ever free giveaway and you're gonna wanna know how to enter. So finally, let's give Meg the love she deserves and let's hit the fashion district. I had not been to the LA fashion district in over a decade, so for all intents and purposes, this was really my first time. It was a bit overwhelming at times, but honestly, super grateful to have rediscovered this amazing place, especially with Joann Fabrics recently closing. This is going to be the main fabric. I was ideally looking for something a little bit darker that matched the Disneyland version of Meg, but my top priority was the texture. This is gonna be the main fabric that I use for really here down on the dress. And let me tell you, I went to like 20 stores before I could find this in any shade of purple. And then right after I found this, I found this shade of purple, which is just too dark. So what I decided to do is get them both. And I think I'm gonna use this for the lining. There's gonna be a slit up the skirt, so you will see some of the lining. So I think it'll give some dimension and I think it'll be cool, I hope. Otherwise I just have a lot of dark purple fabric, but whatever, I'm giving it a go. And then I got this that will drape on the neck. It will be the belt pieces. So my plan right now is to buy this pattern of a circle skirt and start with that base of the pattern, get that all cut out, sewn together, and then I'm gonna do draping for the top.
Let's get started.
Also, Crescent Shay made an amazing tutorial video on how to tackle, I guess, the LA fashion district, and I found it immensely helpful. And actually the fabrics that I bought today were all from some of the shops that she recommended, so thank you, Shay, for making that. And I'm gonna link to her video in the description below if you too want to check out the LA fashion district for the first time. The pattern I bought ended up being too short, so I lengthened the pattern to my desired length using a piece of string. I started laying out the pattern piece on the lining fabric and I immediately knew I had a problem. This is not good. Basically, I need 4 of those. Okay, here is the fabric laid out, not folded. My dog keeps walking on it, so that's really fun. Here is what I think my only option is to conserve fabric and keep the lines going straight down the length of the skirt. Is to cut out only 4 of these panels with maybe about a yard down there left, 3/4 of a yard. So I think what I'm gonna do is do 4 panels, alternate this, leave seam allowance on either side so that the waist isn't too small. Just do 4, see how much I have left of this fabric and if it'd be enough for the top and if the skirt has enough fullness like that, and then I'll know what to do with the main fabric. Okay, so here's 4. It is not gonna work because it does not fit all the way around my waist because I didn't think about the fact that if you're cutting the panels in half, you're only getting half the waist. So I think we're good if we have 5. So I'm gonna go cut a 5th panel out of this, see how much fabric I have left, and then either feel relieved or feel panicked. Ugh, definitely don't have enough. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. So this was the largest panel I could get out of the fabric, but I had to pattern it so that I'd be able to match its size when I cut it out of the main fabric. It does fit my waist. It's good. It's working. It's just, do I have enough fabric to then drape the top? So that's what I gotta figure out. I think it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, I'm honestly so relieved and really proud of myself for figuring out a solution to this not enough fabric problem. Yeah, as we saw in my alphabet video, it doesn't always work out this way. And honestly, I think the fullness in the skirt is great. It's exactly what it should be for Meg. She doesn't have a full skirt. It's good. I'm happy with it. Time to cut out of the main fabric. And here I am pinning in the lining of the skirt. Now it was time to block out the shape of the bodice with draping tape. I'm draping the bodice out of a stretchy material so that it would have approximately the same weight and stretch as the main material, so I just chose this pink spandex. With these pieces complete, I can now make my pattern. Now I'm cutting out and sewing together a mock-up using the same material. Since this mock-up ended up being successful and because the lining material ended up being so sheer, I actually decided to use this mock-up as an inner layer to sandwich between the lining and the main fabric. So once I had this sewn together and I saw that the shape was correct, I made it again out of the lining fabric. And then a third time out of the main fabric. It's looking so good. I finished last night and I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. So I've got the pink lining in here and then I've got the actual lining. I just have realized I should sew this in last. So next step, I just realized you can see that my outfit is like totally not matching. I didn't intend for these shorts to show on camera. I'm gonna do the detail work. I just have to go like really low. Just a deep blend here. I'm gonna do, let's see, like the seam binding and details here. And I keep going back and forth on the actual fabric. Here in the Disneyland version, there's just so much dimension to the color and I could not find fabric that looked like that. So I might take like a test piece of fabric and just experiment with painting like little lines of different color. There would be so much fabric to paint. I would literally be a fool to do that. And am I a fool? Yes. So if it looks good, I might do it. So I'm gonna experiment with that, work on the seam binding, work on the draping of the neckline and the like belt pieces. And you know I love the details, so I'm really excited for this next step. Let's go. So I experimented with painting and at first this looked like a kindergartner's art project, but once I figured out that I needed to blend the colors with water, it started to come together. Here's what the test piece ended up looking like, and honestly, I think at scale it would have looked very cool, but this little piece took about 40 minutes, and let's remember that I have this much fabric. So I'm not that much of a fool, and I decided to scrap this idea. Let me know in the comments if you think I made the right choice or not. Next, I sewed the skirt and the bodice together, and I tried it all on, and finally, we are seeing some major progress. I started draping the neck and waist pieces that I learned are called swags. It was at this point that I realized there was a problem. I hadn't made the actual bodice long enough, so the seam of the skirt was hitting right where it would be visible and not hidden underneath the drop waist swag, which was what I had intended. So I taped out where I wanted the seam binding of the bodice to go, and then started draping a separate piece that I would sew together to go between the underbust and waist swags to fix my mistake. Here is the new bodice piece sewn together. Then I made many pieces of bias tape, I pinned all of the pieces of bias tape in place, and then sewed them on. Here is the completed bodice piece. I then pinned this bodice onto the overall dress and hand sewed it in place. And now it was time to make and attach the finished swags. And finally, I attached the lining and a zipper in the back. A friend of mine gifted me this thrifted prom dress that they found, so I decided to use this for the neck swag and parts of the belt. Now that the dress was otherwise finished, it was time to measure a level length of the skirt and serge the hem on both the outer and inner layers of the skirt. Last step, time to make the brooches. I'm using one of my favorite products, Epoxy Sculpt. Check out this short if you want to learn how to soften your epoxy sculpt to make it actually pliable and usable. Meg has 3 brooches, 2 on the corners of the neck swag near the shoulders, and 1 on the hip of her waist swag. My first design was to carve in spiral lines like this, but I wanted to experiment with carving in the details a little bit deeper and more dramatically. Here is the completed first design, and here is the second. I couldn't decide yet, so I moved forward with painting both. I painted everything black first, and then I dry brushed on gold paint so that the carved designs would stay black. I ran a poll on Instagram so all of you could help me pick which ones to use, and the deeper carved designs won by a landslide. Okay, I was not expecting this to happen when I started designing this costume, but someone has actually booked Meg and 3 of the muses for a movie in the parks movie night. So that is super exciting. I've been working on the muse costumes as well. Check out this short to see how I turned a few pretty cheaply made costumes into something that was a lot better. So the movie night is tonight. So I am on my way out the door now to go take some photos and videos of Meg and the muses, and then tomorrow I'm gonna film myself and Meg doing the final result. So without further ado, I will see you in the final results. Just done. And can we give a shout out to this wig? I am linking to my amazing wig stylist in the description below. She did an amazing job. And as promised, I am doing a free giveaway in this video. I made these extra Meg brooches that I did not end up using for my cosplay, so I'm going to be giving them to one of you. Here is how to enter. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, like this video, and comment below. The best comment you can leave is who you think is the most underrated Disney character, because again, I'm gonna be choosing one of those comments and making a video inspired by that character in 2026. So comment, like, subscribe, and in 2 weeks, I will be choosing a winner at random, and I will post the winner on a short here on YouTube. So make sure to stay tuned for the winner announcement. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.